So now we're ready to add the paint colors, and this will be nearly identical to the technique that we used in the Color Squares video series. So basically I need to adjust the X and Y coordinates. We'll put X back at the left margin, and then Y is going to be at about 400 or so. Now see, Y is getting higher and higher because we're moving down the window. Okay, and then we need to come up with the number of rows and columns. Now in the Color Squares program, I think we did a 30 by 30 grid. That's not what we're doing here. We'll do 10 rows and 40 columns. So we'll say rows. I could say num rows or just rows. We'll just say rows to cut down on a little bit of typing. So rows is equal to 10, and then columns will be equal to 40. Okay, we'll do the 20 by 20 square just like we did in the Color Squares video. Okay. All right. So again, we need to use a nested loop in order to produce this two-dimensional array and add the colors to it. So again, this will be my outer loop here. So for R equals 1, 2, 10, we only have 10 rows here, and then I'm going to end this sandwich before I go inside and type the inner sandwich. So this will be for C equals 1 to 40. Okay, so I have the skeleton laid out here, and now we're going to start with the functionality, which is of course always in the inner loop. Okay, we do have a little bit in the outer loop, basically manipulating the X and Y coordinates, but for now we're focusing on the inner loop here. So we'll again get the random color from the graphics window and change the brush color. Okay, and then we'll add a box or a rectangle to the colors array. Okay, or whatever array. We could call it boxes, we could call it squares, we could call it paint colors. Let's just call it colors. In the example, the Color Squares example, we actually use the array name boxes, but let's just go ahead and we'll do colors. Okay, once again, row and column. Always row first, column second. Okay, adding a rectangle. And this will be a 20 by 20 rectangle, and we have size and size. That'll get us our 20 by 20 rectangle. Once we have the rectangle in place, we want to move it . Oh, actually, I'm thinking about the Color Squares example. I think we used a shape, but that was not interactive. We weren't having to click on those little squares, but this one is different. When I click a little square, that wall color is going to change, so that's why we're doing FC Controls Add Rectangle. Okay, so we'll move it into place, and who are we moving? Colors, row, column. Where are we moving it to? Our X, Y coordinates. Okay? And then we need to advance the X cursor, or X coordinate. Alright, so that'll move it over 20 pixels, and keep moving it over 20 pixels at a time. And then when this loop is done, after it's executed 40 times, we have 40 squares all in a row, and then it's time to advance to the next row. So now I'm in the outer loop here. We'll set X back to about 10 or so, and then Y is going to be whatever it is plus 20 pixels, which is in the size variable. Okay, so we can run it. It will take a while because we have all these images loading. And there it is. Okay, so in the next video we will focus on the functionality.